totally awesome. It is our pleasure to welcome now Frank Klein, the COO of Rocket Lab. Frank, good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
What do you think about this symposium, all these smart people gathered up together to talk about aerospace defense and how technology supports that, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely a great honor for me personally to be here. It's always great to be surrounded by smart people. It makes you look smarter. But no, I think it's absolutely essential. I actually had a panel discussion today really to talk about the impact of the space industry overall. That's going to be the next big industrial revolution. Seeing Mississippi being right there, having the governor's support, for all the companies to invest into Mississippi, I think that's where this conference is really focused on.
Yeah, it sure seems like that. And I think Mississippi, and get your reaction to this, is really well poised to participate in the upside of the industry.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we have been in Mississippi since 2022. We're using the Stennis facility to test our engines. When you go to space, you got to have engines, and
sure.
So we're using it from an engineering perspective. But certainly, after we launch our Neutron rocket, we'll be building engines at scale, and every single engine that goes to space will go through Stennis and will get tested here, will get approved before we actually put the engines into a rocket and go to space.
Interesting. So I remember back in when I was in grade school visiting the Stennis facility, and of course this was around the time the Saturn V rocket engines were being built, and those things were gigantic. You really can't describe the size of those engines. Of course, the Saturn V is what took America's astronauts to the moon.
Yep.
How has it changed? I know it has a lot since then, but how has engine design and architecture and just propulsion systems for rockets, how's that changed?
It changed dramatically. I mean, it literally took years to build these engines because the technology just wasn't there. If you look at our facility where we actually built the engines in Long Beach, we have massive 3D printers that are actually printing most of the components. We're highly vertically integrated. So in the past, you had to buy all the parts from all the suppliers. So no, I mean, the industry has changed. I mean, we're building engines at scale. I mean, when you just look at our Electron engines, we have so far built over 700 engines.
Wow.
700 engines. And now with the Archimedes engine, that's the big engine that we're using for our Neutron rocket, we need 10 engines per rocket. I mean, they're massive. I mean, I'm a tall guy, but when I'm standing next to the rocket, it makes me look really short. So, and just the engineering that goes into it, and they all have to operate. They have to operate when you launch. They have to operate in space. So that's just from an engineering perspective, for me personally, mind-blowing.
Yeah, and so, I would agree. And that same concept, and I think innovation principle, we could say, Frank, applies to lots of different disciplines. And what I mean specifically is just the cycle times from concept to final production. We're seeing that across all industries and all things we're making.
Yeah, I think that's also something. I mean, you have to invent things fast. You have to bring them to market fast, because there is a lot of competition out there.
Yeah.
I'm not only talking about competition in the U.S. I mean, everybody in the entire world understands the importance of space for communication, for security purposes. And so we're in a competition. So working together with the government, working together with all the institutions, with colleges to get the right talent, that's absolutely essential. But yeah, we don't have time. I mean, when you compare the space industry 50 years ago, it took years and decades to do all of this.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about months.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. So, Frank, why should we continue to invest in this technology that allows us to further explore the frontier of space? Why is that important?
Well, I think because, as I mentioned, it is a big industrial revolution, and it's not just exploring space. I mean, that's a beautiful thing, and we talk about going to Mars, going to Moon, and all of this. Beautiful, we have to do this. But when you need to look at space as an infrastructure for communication, because everything is getting connected more every single year, and in order to make that connectivity possible, you have to go to low orbit, to space. There are right now about 10,000 satellites out there, and that's just the beginning. 10,000 satellites. I estimate, and I mean these are not public numbers, but I estimate that maybe in 10 years there are going to be 100,000 satellites out there, and these satellites have to be replaced on an annual basis. Just imagine they last for 5 years, so you can do the math. Every year you have to build 20,000 satellites, you have to launch them. So that infrastructure to launch them, to build them, to operate them, that's a big industry. And I want the US, I want Mississippi, I want everybody to benefit from it. And that's why we have to invest into this technology, and we have to make it happen, because if we don't do it, others are going to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And would you agree that the more we can kind of shrink the size of the planet from a communications perspective, where it's just as easy for us to communicate with people on the other side of the world with big volumes of information and data as it is for you and I to have this conversation.
That's exactly the way it is. And it's already the way it is nowadays. We heavily rely on copper cables that are in the ocean, but that's limited. You got to go to space to make this happen. And then soon, I mean, let's just the automotive industry. You have about, every year you build about 100 million new cars. They all will be connected via satellites.
Absolutely.
They will connect with every single, with your watch, with everything. And that connectivity, that data requires a technology revolution, and it requires an infrastructure, and we're just building that infrastructure. So you have to see it as an infrastructure. Going to Mars and all these beautiful things, but building that infrastructure, that's the game changer.
So who are the customers for this?
All of us. All of us. Yeah, I think that's how you have to see it. We're all customers. Everybody who has an iPhone, everybody who drives the car, everybody who's using a computer, we're all customers of that technology.
Yeah, I agree. And I've always felt like if we could knock down those barriers, there were the distance connectivity barriers that produce latency, of course, but when we can eliminate that latency, it just opens up the door for the technology that's not even a twinkle in our eye today. If you think about it. So I agree with you. So I read a report not so long ago that said that we're approaching a point where the average American home will have 400 things connected inside the home.
I agree. Everything will be connected. Everything will be connected, and the infrastructure is not visible anymore. You know, in the past it was visible. You had your modem, you had your satellite dish, you had your cable. All of this disappears. It's not there, but it's about 200 kilometers up there in orbit. It's all the satellites that enable this communication. And you got to have the rockets that bring these satellites up there. You got to have teams that write the software. You have to operate all of this. And this is massive. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people working in that industry. And that's we're just at the beginning.
You know, I believe our space exploration and travel actually produced lots of technology that became kind of the foundation for more technology that's all been commercialized and industrialized today. Do you expect the same thing's going to happen here with the use of these tools?
Yes. I mean, it will benefit. Literally, it will impact everything. And that's exactly what it is.
And there is a bit of a global race for this going on.
And there is, there is. I mean, it's like I think we're one of the leading countries here in the U.S., but I mean, China is heavily investing into it. Russia is investing into it. Europe is investing into it. So there is a race. And if we are able to secure that technology using the brightest people, working together with all the institutions, with the government, we can win that race. It is a race. It is a competition.
Well, is it going to become a matter of fundamental national security to maintain superiority?
It as well, yes. I mean, we talked about the commercial applications, but that's absolutely for security purposes as well. To protect the country, you got to be in space. You got to know what's going on, and satellites are enabling that as well.
Yeah, that's super exciting. Before we go, we've got about 30 seconds. Why Mississippi?
Well, I think Mississippi had an incredible infrastructure with Stennis, with NASA, and I think repurposing that infrastructure for our needs, working with all the different companies, is allowing Mississippi to grow, and it's just very friendly for companies, and we really appreciate all the support that we have received so far, and we're looking forward to getting more supports in the future.
Appreciate you being here. Frank Klein, COO of Rocket Lab, has been our guest on Middays. Appreciate it, Frank. Enjoy it.
Thanks for having me.
We're stepping aside for a break. The governor and the press are assembling just off to my right here. I think we're expecting a big announcement. We're stepping aside for a break. Once again, we're at the Mississippi Gulf Coast for the Mississippi Aerospace Defense Symposium.